गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरु साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः. We are in Jnaneshwari, chapter 10, verse number 4 and 5. And here last week we were looking at verse number 4, first line. Buddhir jnanam sammohaha kshama satyam damah shamaha sukham dukkham bhayo bhavo bhayam cha bhayam eva cha. So last week we saw what is buddhi, what is jnana, what is asammohaha. Did we do kshama? No, we didn't do kshama. हाँ, केली तो क्षमा सत्यम दमा शमः, these also we have seen. So what is buddhi? What buddhi is satvikatmak buddhi. That intellect, that buddhi, that intelligence by which the first time we hear something we are able to understand, that is buddhi. Buddhi can be tamasic, rajasic or sattvic. So if we are not understanding something in life, in a satsang, when we are not able to, the basic concepts, commonsensical living concepts are not clicking, understand, buddhi is corrupted. So for that, do something. Take name of the Lord, whatever is required. Try to invoke the grace of the Lord. Call him out. So sattvika buddhi. Then jnana is at the chitta level, and jnana is that, knowledge is that which removes ajnana. What is ajnana? Ignorance. How will jnana remove ajnana? Only when you will realize that knowledge that you are pursuing is also with a sattvic buddhi. Only then it will remove. Otherwise it will not remove. If you have a rajasic buddhi and you think you are Tismar Khan having all the knowledge, then you are caught up in your own janjal. You are caught up in your own trap of thinking. Sattvic also like that only. But when we come with a sattvic buddhi, when we come to a satsang and we come to hear that we are other than the body, breath, mind, intellect, oh, how can that be possible? Then this is not sattvic buddhi. But if you come with a sattvic buddhi, it is possible. There is a possibility that it might click. Then asammohaha. Asammohaha is that whatever, any situation of life that we are put in, we don't decide I am going to be here or I am going to be there. Life decides in how it is going to unfold for you, and you find yourself in a particular situation. Even right now in this satsang, you might find yourself in this satsang. Maybe the body is sitting here, but the mind may be somewhere else, thinking about something else. So you cannot predetermine what is going to happen in it. But wherever life places you, physically, mentally, intellectually, conceptually, not to get disturbed where the life has placed you is asammohaha. See? Not to get disturbed. Not to get excited if things are going your way, and not to get dejected if the things are not going your way. This is all possible. How is asammoha possible in life? Not to get dejected or not to get excited, only when agyan has been removed by gyan. How do you gain gyan? How do you gain the correct concepts or notions of life? Through words, through concepts, through ideas. How do you know that these are the correct concepts, these are the correct notions, these are the correct angle of approach towards life or any subject? Only when you have a sattvic buddhi, isn't it? So this is the connection. See? So here, buddhir jnanam asammoha. This is sukshma antaranga sadhana. It is a subtle practices that must keep on going on inside of you. Then comes kshama, satyam, dama, shamaha. Jnaneshwar Maharaj has given a very short commentary. But kshama is what? The ability to forgive. Who is able to forgive? He must have two qualities. One is he must be able to forgive and he must have the ability to forgive. A person decides what he is able, meaning he is ready to go to Olympics. But does he have the ability to go to Olympics? Does he have is he putting the number of hours required to go to the gym or to do the practice or to go for the whatever field he has chosen? No, but only an idea in my head. I want to go to the Olympics, I want to run 100 meters and come first. But who's going to do the hard yaka behind it? So you are able, you are ready to do it, but you are not having the ability to do it. See? Both must come. Some people are having the ability, having great muscles, can lift lot of weight, but you ask them, please take part, represent the country. They don't want to, isn't it? So both, one must have the readiness to forgive and one must have the courage and the strength to forgive. And what does forgiveness mean? What does forgiveness mean? Batao. Why do we need to forgive someone, first of all? Why do we need to forgive someone? Because they have hurt you in some way, isn't it? Or you have hurt someone and you need to forgive yourself also. So either someone has hurt you or you have hurt yourself. Usually it is said, when you get hurt because of someone else, that other person doesn't know that he has hurt you. But your interaction with that person is that you feel hurt. And that person has gone away and you are cringing in your own heart and mind for a long time. So learn to forgive yourself also. So what does forgiveness mean? Forgiveness means that when you do forgiveness, not even an iota of hatred, an iota of disturbance is left inside of you. That is kshama. In life, many people come and abuse us through thought, word and deed, isn't it? Yes, yesterday one person in our house, he had done something, lot of exercise. And when he came back, he was hungry. Hunger makes people very angry if it is your hunger is not satiated. So he was waiting, and these girls, they were cooking chapati, not one, not two, not three. They wanted to eat also and take it to office also. And this fellow is hungry and he is watching and watching and watching. He is not saying anything, but his look told that he is disturbed inside. See? Disturbed inside. And it came out eventually in some other way, but by 11 o'clock, 10:30, he went and apologized to everyone. I am sorry, I should not have behaved that way, isn't it? Not should have, should not have. He forgave himself and he apologized. What's the ego trip that why should I apologize? I was hungry, I was this, I was that. No, he did. Shows good heart. Cleaning himself up, not allowing any impressions to be left behind of dislike or hatred. Any disturbance left behind means you have not forgiven. Any loose ends left behind in your heart and mind, understand you have not forgiven yourself or you have not forgiven others. If some thought of some other person who has hit you, who has abused you, who has insulted you, usually after some time we are able to, because time heals everything, after a few days you will forget it. But Kshama means when it is actually happening, at that time there is no dislike or hatred towards that person, is Kshama. This is forgiveness. What happens with forgiveness? By practicing forgiveness in life, I'm not saying forgiveness only towards other people, more importantly towards ourselves. Allah, so many mistakes inadvertently take place in our life, isn't it? कुछ ना कुछ गलत बोल देते हैं, कुछ हो जाता है. We are also product of our memories. So sometimes you don't realize, but something comes out. Forgive yourself. But make sure, don't keep forgiving yourself and repeating the same mistake again and again. No, forgive yourself, but don't repeat the same mistake again. Be alert, be vigilant. What happens when you practice forgiveness? Your mind becomes free of all guilt and hatred. We must move around in this world with a free mind. See? If the mind is not free, if it has all these knots of guilt, of anger, of greed, of manipulation, of hypocrisy, of commission, of omission, then when that person comes to someone, already there is an agenda in the mind. You are not coming with an open mind. You already have an agenda. You know, if a person, a boy and a girl come together and they are not, they're not in relationship, it's very free talk, ha ha hu karke nikal jate. But if there is one person is liking the other person and the other person doesn't know, see the behavior, how funny it is. Or if someone is disturbed by someone's presence, the moment he comes into the room or in their presence, even in the shopping center, you look at immediately something. See? So that means the mind is not free. See, you take a cloth, yesterday this example came. You take a cloth, it didn't come, it came in my mind. You take a cloth, you hit someone with a rumal. Huh? With this rumal, if I hit someone, if I take this and go, will you get hurt?
Yes.
You will not get hurt. Try, I'll show you. Nothing will happen. But if I tie a knot in this and then I do the same thing, then what will happen? Ouch! Now that thing will hurt you. Guilt, omission, commission, hatred, dislike, sense of otherness, having an issue, not forgiving yourself, all these are like this knot within your mind. They do not. Is this cloth? Is this everything cloth? Is it cloth? Yes. Is the knot other than cloth?
No.
When this knot is undone, is the cloth now free? Can it hurt? No. Unless you hang by it, yourself by it, it will not hurt. But it will not hurt whatever you do. But the moment in the same cloth, the material is the same, and you create a knot. The mind is the same, but you create an issue within your mind by thought fixation, by wrong interaction, by dislike, by hatred, by guilt, by anger. You are creating a knot in your mind. By non-forgiveness, you are creating a knot in your mind. And every knot can only give you pain, nothing else. It will only give you pain. So on a regular basis, continuous basis, that for that an alert life is to be lived. A vigilant life is to be lived. सतर्कता से जीना है, मूर्खता के साथ नहीं. See? Then the mind becomes free. Then the next one comes Satyam. Then when mind is free, there are no issues. Then alone truth will come out of your mouth. If already I am approaching you and I have got an issue with you, a hatred, or I want something out of you and I want to manipulate you, whatever I speak, it will not be the truth. It is only the intention behind all that speech towards you is to get my work done out of you. If there is something I want from you. Or if I hate you, it will be, I'm being a hypocrite on the top, but inside I'm bubbling away. Ati vinayat, what is that? Dhurta lakshanam. Ati vinayat dhurta lakshanam. Shakuni Maharaj. He's always, but andar, always problem. Look, and don't, what I am telling you, don't go and start judging people outside. See, what Swamiji said is so true, you are behaving like that. No, this is for your own self-assessment, not to be practiced on other, this knowledge. This knowledge is to be practiced only on yourself, self-analysis. Become your own shrink. Huh? There you go. Satyam. What is Satyam? Every truth that is spoken may not be a truth. Every untruth spoken may not be an untruth. Then what is truth? Yes, we understand truth is that ultimate reality. But at a relative level, what is truth? Truth is that by which we are able to make a person, whatever words used, in order to make another person see what you have experienced in life. That is truth. That is truth. Not necessarily in the general sense. This is the definition given here. Truth is that the employment of such a language, such whatever, by which you are able to communicate to another person or bring about a condition in the mind of another person exactly as or close to what you have experienced in your life. If you want to talk about, suppose I am telling about some experience when I was in India, and the children ask me, Swamiji, what did you do? What did you do when you were a small kid? This, that, and I start telling them a story, and they are actually imagining. If they are actually imagining the story that I am telling, then I have been successful. No, when I was a kid, I grew, I used to wear shirt, I used to wear pant, I used to do this, I used to do that, I learned cycling, I went swimming, this, that, boring. But the same thing if I say, with animation, with expressions, with the language, and create a word picture in their mind, and they actually feel that they are with me when I was in my younger years. And when is this possible? When is truth possible to come out of your mouth? Only when the mind is free. If there is an issue in the mind, if I want to achieve something in the mind, I will not be able to communicate. If I'm thinking that I must convince those children and I must do it to the best of, I will never be able to relive the experience that I had in the childhood and be able to communicate with them. Cannot. Because I will be too busy trying to convince them. See? So, this is also antaranga sadhana. This is also at the level of the mana buddhi chitta ahankar only. So when you are forgiving, your mind becomes free. When your mind is free, with no knots, then the speech that comes out. Because what is speech? How did we explain speech? It is grossified mind. Mind is subtle. Grossified mind is speech. Because what is speech? Whatever you are thinking is coming out in words, isn't it?
Expression.
So if mind is free, what will come out?
Truth.
Whatever is meant to come out, that alone will come out. Without any colors, without any frills, without any manipulation, without any hypocrisy, without any knots, it will be a free flow. See? Try to understand. So, forgiveness brings about free mind brings about truth to express out of your, through your words. Dhamma is control of your mind, of your senses. The Lord is saying in these verses that I am buddhi jnana sammoha kshama satya dhamma shamaha sukha dukkham bhava bhava bhaya cha bhayameva cha. All this I am, this is my vibhuti only. There is nothing outside the Lord. The Lord is saying, my vibhuti is buddhi, my vibhuti is gyan, my vibhuti is, or I alone am expressing I alone am expressing as asammoha. I alone am expressing that the forgiveness, the ability to forgive in a person. I alone am expressing, or I alone am the satyam, the truth that a person speaks. I alone am dhamma, the ability to control your senses, and shama, the ability to control your mind. Everything is me only. The Lord says, I am the suras and I am the asuras. They are not other than me. Because if everything is, if divine is, if the Lord is infinite in nature, then in him good and bad both are included. How can you only include good and say bad is outside the divine? How can that be possible? Divine is also included. But he always takes the side of the good because that is the right thing. But if the good people become adharmic, he is ready to give them punishment also. But the Lord says, I am everything. Just like the water say, the what do you call, the metal. Out of a metal, you can make a sword and you can make a bell. So bell rings in front of the Lord and the sword cuts the enemy. Both are made out of the metal only, whichever metal. Does gold become good or bad? Oh, because that metal is being used for ringing the bell in front of the Lord, so it has become holy metal. And that metal which is being used for, if the same metal is being used for in the war to kill, annihilate the enemy, then it has become a killer metal. See? if the bulb is lighted in this room where satsang is going on, and suddenly one bulb gets fused. Arey yaar, I can't read. Can you get me another bulb? And you find, arey is type ka bulb to only in the toilet. You get the toilet bulb and you put it here. Has the bulb become holy after coming to satsang? Or has it become unholy because it was in the toilet? Has it? Its quality is to light. Does the space become good or bad? This is the house space. Within the house space, there is what you call kitchen space, toilet space, bathroom space, bedroom space, satsang space, living room space. But does the space get dirty because of the toilet? Or does the space become sattvic because of satsang going on? Space remains as it is. It does not get affected. It is the constant. It accommodates everything. If this house is broken down, what will happen to space? Nothing. See? So the Lord says, just like that, the Lord says, I am everything. Everything I am. There is nothing outside of me. And what is that everything? Here he is bringing our attention to, before he said, I am Brahma, I am Vishnu, I am Shiva, I am all the gods. He said, the gods cannot come to know me. The Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh cannot come to know me. The Rishis cannot come to know me. Remember that verse? They cannot come to know me. Why? I am the Paramatma. I am beyond all these. And now, not only that, then he says, I am the intellect, the buddhi also, I am the jnana also, I am the asamoha also, I am the kshama, forgiveness also, I am the truth also. Then damaha, I am the control of the senses also. When will you control your senses? If I have desire for the world, will I control the senses? I will not. If I have desire for the world, I will never control the senses. I'll keep running because my eyes see something beautiful, I will run after it. My ears hear something. Notice yourself. If you see something, oh, that is very nice flower pot. Where did you buy it? नहीं, फिर भी बता दो कहाँ से लिया था. I will not buy it so that people don't say that हमारे पास भी, मेरे पास भी है. एक ही दुकान से जाके. नहीं, फिर भी ऐसे ही. कहाँ से लिया था? सस्ता ही होगा. It must be cheap. Looks very beautiful. And hostess is avoiding because she doesn't want another house to have the same flower pot because she found it somewhere after some time. यार तूने बताया, you didn't tell me where did you buy this, it's such a nice one. मेरा तो दिल आ गया. My heart has come on this flower pot. See, you saw something and you want to possess. You hear something, beautiful music, you want to buy the CD, you want to transfer the file, you want to, Swamiji, can you please send me this? Or Swamiji says, can you send me this? See? You feel a nice cloth, someone gave the cloth to, yesterday, Mummy brought it from India, that Shivangi's mother sent some cloth. The moment I felt it, very nice. फिर मैं लेंथ देखने लग गया, छोटा निकला. Only enough for langot, not for lungi or kurta. What can I do? So I'm going to cut it and make it into langots. See? But the moment of touch, oh, very nice. Then, next time, my statement was, next time I go to Bombay, I will tell auntie that she should get me more cloth like that. Immediately. See? This is how we are not here saying that you are wrong or right. Recognize this is how we function. When we are at the seeing, hearing, touching, feeling, tasting level, eyes, ears, throat, sound, tongue, nose, and skin, sensory perceptions, this is how we go. And as long as you are a slave to the stimuli, eyes are slave to beautiful forms. They get attracted towards beautiful forms, and they get distracted. They don't want to look at ugly forms. Even if it is in a book. If the letter is beautiful, day before yesterday I went to someone's house, two girls. One 15, 16 years old and one 11, 12 years old. And they said, Swami, okay, what? See Mummy gave me dictation and I wrote, and I want you to see if my handwriting has become better than before. I must have seen it sometime. I said, it's pathetic, you have to improve. And she saw. So why she said they brought her handwriting out? Because I was standing next to the 16-year-old, and beautiful, like pearls her handwriting is. And I was praising, hey, what beautiful handwriting. Then the young one will not keep quiet. That 11-year-old, no, Swamiji, you check mine also. Has it been, and she's asking me, has it become better than 6 months ago? I don't want to discourage. I said, yes, little bit, not too much. See? It gets attracted. You pass a comment. You have passed a comment means you have fallen for it. You got attached. If you smell pizza wafts coming when you are passing in the car, if you don't make a comment about it, then it will go away. But if you make a comment about it, बहुत दिनों से पिज्जा नहीं खाया यार, then immediately, okay, let's see if we can, when can we organize it? See, we are at the moment we are slave to our senses. This is what the senses do. Their job, eyes are there, their job is to see. Ears are there, their job is to hear. But what happens to us? We keep creating memories. And with those memories, why the memories are created? Because we get attached to good or bad sounds. With good sounds, we want to hear them again. If bad sound, I don't want to hear it again. And if in the future period of time, if that bad sound comes, I want to run away from that place. Because I don't want to hear. I'm attached to not listening also. See, Dhamma. So here the Lord is saying the ability that we invoke to control our senses is also me alone. And when will the senses be controlled? When will the senses be controlled? The more purified you are from within, automatically this constant flow of your senses to go and interact with the stimuli again and again. How will this come to stop? You can force yourself, see no evil, hear no evil, talk no evil, taste no evil. You can do pranayam and control all the senses. But the day you stop, boom, like a volcano it will blast. And you will eat more than ever you ate before. You will see more than you ever saw before. You will hear more than you ever heard before. It's like a revenge. So you can't force, you can't suppress. Last week I told you, you can suppress, but it must be sublimated, it must be dissolved with understanding once it has been suppressed, once it has been controlled. Just mere brute power to control your senses will not bring about any solution in your life. It will only create more confusion. It will create more agitation and frustration. Understanding is very important. It must lead to understanding. And understanding will come only when your mind is quiet. So why do we suppress our senses? Why do we practice Dhamma? Why do we practice Dhamma? Because through the senses, continuously seeing, hearing, touching, feeling, tasting, these stimuli, how do they come in? By way of thoughts. So mind is always full of something that you have seen, something that you have heard, something that you have tasted, something in the past, something what you want in the future, goes on and on and on and on. Isn't it? This is how it goes on. And that is cluttering your mind, and in that cluttered mind, there is no sleep, there is no peace, there is no shanti, only ashanti. Just running from pillar to post, not finding a solution. मैं कैसे शांत कैसे रहूं? मर जाओ, फिर शांत हो जाओगे. Because dead man cannot think. But no, I want to be quiet when I am living. So when we first, why do we suppress? So when we control our senses, the number of stimuli going in becomes less. So mind becomes, it may happen on the first day, it may happen after 10, 15 days. Depends upon how you are made up. Eventually, the mind becomes a little bit quiet. If you do pranayam, if you do japa, the mind will become quiet after some time. The moment mind becomes quiet, immediately re-educate yourself. Go to a satsang. Merely sitting there and controlling it. I have practiced that for 1.5 years. I was beating about the bush doing this sadhana. Eventually it came, no, I must do something else. First I didn't even recognize the pattern. After 3-4 times that it happened through pranayam, all the vices gone, then stopped pranayam, it came back. Again started, it went away, again it stopped, again they came back. Well, after 3-4 times, one day I was thinking, where am I going wrong? Why is it happening again and again? Why am I not able to remove these issues from my life once and for all? Why is it so difficult? See? And then I realized that I was controlling my mind. That time I had not studied any scriptures, but I was waiting. I wanted an answer. I would not sleep at night till I don't get the answer. And I kept working out, I kept writing where in my thinking I'm going wrong. And it clicked. The first click was that I was putting too much effort in controlling everything. There was still fear in my heart that I might become susceptible to those negative vices. See? And so, because of that fear, or because of that desire to overcome that vice, I was putting over efforts. And that was creating a lot of friction. Yes, it was bringing about the result. But it was not out of understanding. It was not out of understanding. A small child is there and you train that child, he goes and jumps, and one child came to our house, he will open the fridge, hey, who's chocolate? Who's this? I want milk. And that's what the child is all about. You can't blame that child. But then the parents have to train that mind, isn't it? That this is not right. In your own home you can do this. In someone else's house you cannot do it. When he asks, we will give it. No doubt. But if it happens once, twice, thrice, then if parents are not educating that child, then we have to start doing it. Then they don't like it. You see? No, that's their problem. I don't care. If I have to teach someone, I teach and forget about it. See? So just like you have to educate that child that behaving in this manner is not right. So he must control his actions. He can't go into any house and open the fridge and eat whatever he wants. Similarly, we educate our senses. Hey eyes, you can't go anywhere and get stuck to any form that you like or don't like. Stay with yourself. Stay in control. But you may speak to your eyes, you may speak to your senses, but they don't listen. So you invoke something more powerful than the senses. What is that? Pranas. You start doing pranayam. Through pranayam, I'll control it. And it gets controlled. But the moment you stop pranayam, they again, oh yahoo! And they are, go again. See? So what happens? When our senses are controlled, less stimuli is in the mind, less thoughts in the mind has become purified, it has become shant. Knowledge can take place, reformation can come about only in a quiet mind. In an agitated mind, education cannot be imparted. You know, they say, if a pot is full, you cannot pour more water into it. So this pot has to be empty. The mental pot has to be empty. For the mental pot to be empty, you have to control the stimuli through the sense, which are coming in through the senses. Then in that empty pot, the right type of knowledge. What type of thoughts must go? Thoughts, can you keep mind empty of thoughts for long periods of time? Can't. For some time you can bring about a situation to keep the mind empty through control, through force, through pranayam, through sleep. But we want it consciously. Some thoughts, if I don't go to a satsang, if I don't put positive thoughts, something will go in. From past, from future, from what is in the world, something will go in. So we are not stopping. We don't want the mind to stop thinking. No, let it think. But bring about certain situations through Dhamma so that in that quiet mind we can give it a new way of looking at life. In a new way of looking at life. Just like, for one simple example, we say sunrise and sunset, what a beautiful day, sunrise, what a beautiful sunset. Oh, because of sunrise, I am so fresh in the morning. Because of sunset, now it's time to go to sleep. You come with a quiet mind to a satsang, you are told, sun does not rise, sun does not set, sun is where it is. Correct? Does sun rise? No. Sun is in its own place. It is the rotation of the earth around the sun which is giving you the illusion of sunrise and sunset. Only when you tell a child or first time when you realized it, Arey Baapre, I never realized. After that realization, you still enjoy the sunrise and sunset, but you don't know. Your language has changed. Your interaction with that whole experience has changed. You know 100%, without any doubt, that the sun does not rise and the sun does not set. This you knew, but it has not clicked inside of you till someone did not explain it to you, isn't it? Similarly, there are many how to function in this life, how to move through this life without frustration, without agitation, without becoming a problem to ourselves. Man talks to himself the most, not to the other people. Man talks to himself the most. Not just man, women even more. So how to stop that? How to interact with that? So that I can come out of that janjal, come out of that, क्या बोलते हैं उसको? भूल भुलैया को क्या बोलते हैं? Maze. How can I come out of that maze called thoughts, maze of thoughts? For that, a quiet mind is required. You have the answers. All of you know the answers. But why it is not becoming your direct experience? Because the mind, with a busy mind, you listen to that but it doesn't stick. And so in this way, Dhamma helps us. The ability to control our senses helps us to reduce the onslaught of thoughts on the mind, and when the mind becomes free of, for some time, of that onslaught of thought, in that quiet mind, that quiet intellect can be reformed, new notions can be presented to it, it becomes available because it is empty, you can put something. And this has to be done with faith. And the last is Shama. Shama is control of senses is called Dhamma, control of mind is called Shama. Shama can be done through Japa sadhana, through Dhyana sadhana. And what is the result of it? The result of Shama is that the mind of its own accord does not want to go out of the senses to interact with the world. It is happy, it is content where it is. Like when we get up in the morning, you must have all felt it almost every day. When you get up in the morning, you do, for 1 second that thought comes, just stay inside. And क्या करेंगे अभी जाके? I get this thought. Today also I expressed it. They said, oh, Swamiji, you didn't come in the... I forgot today I had to have breakfast. I was sitting in my room, took shower, everything, and I started doing some work of my files and everything, and suddenly 12 o'clock. And then I went to the front house, then he was there. I said, अरे यार खाना breakfast ही खाना भूल गया मैं. क्या हो गया? नहीं, बीच में, in between I thought that I must eat something, I was hungry, but I know what I am doing. If I leave it, I will not come back to it. Why? Because if I go to the front house, once I enter there, then the whole samsar begins. Something to do, something not to do this, do that, there's no end to it then. So as long as I can delay my departure from my room, I remain in the room. See? It's exactly the same way. The ability of the mind not to depart into the senses and then through the senses into the world is called Shama. It is happy where it is. It knows it is hungry, but it is not going. It knows, अरे यार full moon, चलो बाहर जाके देखते. No, it knows full moon is beautiful, everything, but it does not want to go in. Because you see something with great excitement, impression will be created, memory will be created. How long? So when you do japa sadhana, or when you come to japa sadhana later, when you wake up in the morning, for a few moments you don't want to get out of the bed. Why? You know, once you get out, then that peace and quiet and contentment and the warmth of being, it will all be lost, and then hectic activity will begin, isn't it? Everyone experiences that. Imagine this is your own experience every morning. Same thing is when on the seat of meditation you do the japa sadhana or you do the dhyana abhyas, the meditation, contemplation, and then phone call rings or someone calls you out or something. Sometimes sitting here also you might remember, oh, I have to do that or I have to do this. You just discard that thought, isn't it? You don't give it too much value. This is Shama. When the mind, you're not forcing the mind without thinking, it is just not wanting to go and get involved in anything. It has got detached. It has got detached. It is not interested. Why? When will it become not interested? Till here, till mind is not interested, you can force the mind to be not interested. If you bring it with force, it will go back into interested. But if you bring it with understanding, Dhamma is forcing the mind to come to that point, and then making them, because the mind is quiet, then you can make it understand. Or the other way is, make the mind understand, and slowly, slowly, it will by itself renounce everything. All requires is one conviction with faith that, hey, the way I have been acting, getting involved, the way I am functioning is not right. Immediately, once you get convinced of something, then your behavior changes, isn't it? You have to become convinced. Nobody else can convince you. You have to be convinced in your own mind. When the mind gets convinced that the more I get involved in the world, the more the thoughts will come in, the more the thought come in, I will get caught up in my own thoughts, and there is no end to these thoughts, there is no end to these desires. Everything that I want or don't want is only because I have interacted with it in this world. You never see a small child saying, I want a Ferrari. Only when a child grows up, becomes a teenager, sees it, and then immediately, I want a Ferrari, I want this car, I want that car, I want to fly, I want to travel. But till you didn't know, ignorance is bliss. Till you don't know, there's no desire. So the more you interact, the more mind goes out, the more stimuli will come. And if the interaction with those stimuli is a reaction, and it's precipitating in impressions, then desires will be created for them again and again. And we get caught up in these desires. So here Krishna Bhagavan says, Buddhir jnanam asammoha kshama satyam damah shamaha. Sukham dukkham bhavo bhavaha bhayam cha bhayameva cha. Sukham dukkham, happiness and misery. Both are experienced by us. That which brings happiness to us is sukham. That which brings misery to us is dukkham, isn't it? So the Lord saying, I am happiness also, I am misery also. Don't forget the context in which we are doing this verse. The Lord is saying, both of these are my vibhuti. I am sukha also, I am dukkha also. Is it not true that in your mind the happy thoughts also come and miserable thoughts also come? And you know them? And you know them. So they are outside of you or they are part of you? The Lord says, they are my vibhuti. He is alone, himself expressing as sukha and dukkha, yet he is beyond sukha and dukkha. He is beyond sukha and dukkha. Then, bhavo bhavaha, bhavaha abhavaha. To be or not to be. Being is existence and abhava is absence. Presence and absence. He says, I am the presence and I am the absence also. What is presence? Everything that exists is presence, isn't it? Everything that you know is presence. Every thought is presence. What is absence? Everything that is not is absence. So, I know her, so she is present. She is present, but between the two there is absent. There is nothing there. Empty space. Oh no, you'll say, oh, there is chair. Okay, chair is there. Between two chairs, there is empty. Oh no, there is floor. Okay, this floor and that floor, presence. In between, absence. No, there is the threshold. See? There's the experiment done by Russian scientists. In 50s they did Kirlian photography. Have you heard of it? The Kirlian was a scientist and he developed this camera. It can magnify deep into anything. So he took a petal of flower, he looked at a flower or took one petal and he went to the power of 10 times to the power of 1 centimeter. 1 centimeter, next one is 1 to the power of 10, then again to the power of 10, then again to the power of 10, kept magnifying, kept magnifying, kept magnifying. After 11 magnifications, there was nothing. There was nothing. Emptiness. He went beyond all the smallest of the smallest particle. He kept going 10 to the power of 11. Nothing. Same thing he did with that same petal. He started going outward. What do you call it? Going out? Zoom out. He started zooming out. By the time he reached to the power of 14, there was nothing. Again there was nothing. So you go into the depth of something, you will find nothing. If you go out of something, you will find nothing. Emptiness is the base. So here the Lord is saying, something is, today you are present, one day will come, you will not be present. You will be, abhav ho jayega tumhara, hai na? Today this book is present, after some time this book will not be present. Right now this thought is present. There are 7 words I pronounced. They appeared and they went away. Abhav. This appeared only when I spoke this. After that it's absent. Only then something else can come. So he says, the Lord is saying, the presence, bhava, and abhava, the absence, both I am. They are my vibhutis. And don't forget this part. The Lord is saying all this is my vibhuti. And he also says, and I am the one who's in your heart. I am the one who's functioning through you also. So if you want to experience the Lord, then you start seeing the world the way he is seeing. If he is saying I am presence and absence, and yet beyond both, you also see, now, this is very difficult, it is, my God, this concept, blah, 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 blah. Already you have made a decision, it is difficult, then get out of here. Our intention should be, if Lord has said that, and he is inside my heart, is there any experience in my life which corresponds to the vision of the Lord about his creation? Can I say and speak about the creation in the same way like the Lord is speaking? Is there any similarity? If he is in my heart, then I must also be having the same experience. Right now I am not having it. But is there a possibility? When we start becoming available to that possibility, then there is grace possible, isn't it? But if we say, no, it is not possible, it is very difficult, you have already put the gates shut. You have already shut the gates of possibilities. Already shut the gates. If I close the window and complain why the breeze is not coming, whose fault is it? Open the window, the breeze will come in. Yeah, this house is very dark. Why this house is dark? Do you have windows? Yes, I have the windows. Like one lady was there, she went to a doctor. She says, doctor, I can't sleep. He says, why you can't sleep? I don't know, for so many days I have not been able to sleep. Why you are not able to sleep? He's wondering. He says, I gave you sleeping pills. She says, yeah, you gave me. Still you can't sleep. No, still I can't sleep. Why? No, she took. He says, acha, so sleeping pills are not working? No, they are working. Then why you are not able? Because I take them in the morning. At night, I'm not able to sleep. The whole day she's sleeping, but at night she's awake and saying, I'm not able to sleep, I'm not able to sleep, I'm not able to sleep. See? So instead of saying, finding excuses, finding reasons how it is not possible, when we listen to Gita, find out ways, means, excuses to see how what Lord is saying is happening in your life at this very moment. Nothing he is saying in this Bhagavad Gita is not already happening to you. Nothing. All you need to do is develop that vision to see from his point of view. Wear his shoes and start looking at the world. If he's saying that I am Sukha Dukkha, you also start thinking, how can I, do I know Sukha? Yes. Do I know Dukkha? Yes. How do I know them? Because they appear as thoughts. Oh, so I know that this is Sukha. They are in, where do they come? They come in my mind. Is the mind other than me? No. Oh, so I am appearing as Sukha Dukkha. But am I affected by Sukha Dukkha? Yes and no. When I get identified with Sukha Dukkha, I become Sukhi Dukhi. If I remain apart from the Sukha Dukkha, then I am watching that Sukha Dukkha is coming and going, but I am not disturbed by them. अरे तेरी की यही तो भगवान भी बोल रहे थे. Abhav, bhav, abhav, presence and absence. Take every one of them and बाल की खाल उधेड़ दो उसकी. Dissect it in your own experience. It will take you into meditation, open eye meditation. You don't need to do anything special then. You take Shama, you take how I'm explaining it. Just take one and sit with it and spend the whole day looking at that forgiveness from all different angles. If you can't remember, put your voice message on and keep recording it and see how different ways you can then listen to it at night. Or write it. I used to write down. All my thoughts. When in those days, I used to write and write and write so that I become clear about what I'm wanting to know. Till that thing becomes clear to me. No doubt must remain around it. Sukham Dukh. Are. Sukham Dukkham Bhavo Bhavaha Bhayam Cha Bhayameva Cha. And the last set of coming together is Bhaya Abhaya. Fear and fearlessness. There must be here. He says, I am the fear also, I am the fearlessness also. Do you feel fear? We all do fear, na? Go to King Street at 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock at night. You will shiver. One person coming with tattoos and drunk, and suddenly you will run away from there to the other side. And if you see that fellow coming after you, you will run faster. Fear. We must be afraid when we do wrong things in life. Anything adharmic, ashastrik, when we do, we must be afraid of it. Fear makes us fear of God, fear of Guru, fear of elders. It makes us disciplined. So it is important that we must have that fear so that we remain in Maryada in certain circumstances. If I don't have fear of the government and the fines, I will drive through red lights every day. Isn't it? The same father who gives capital punishment to his child in Africa and India and Middle East, here he comes and behaves. Because the government can come and take the child away. if the government comes to know, isn't it? Why this? How come the sudden transformation has come about? Fear. So remain in, and this, let it not be imposed from outside. This fear, the discipline, you will become fearless when you live a self-disciplined life. A life of self-discipline is called Maryada. Then you are interacting with yourself and the environment correctly. Nowadays, children don't get up when parents come or the grandparents come, they keep sitting there only, isn't it? You notice that. But you remember your time? You dare not sit? Maybe it was out of fear, but that habit has still remained with us, isn't it? We haven't forgotten that. Keep your eyes down in front of elders. Don't speak loudly in front of elders. Always give elders first, gurus first, mahatmas first, Lord first in the temple, and then you eat something. Say Brahmarpanam Brahmai, offer it to the Lord and then eat. This is called self-discipline. When you live a self-disciplined life, then automatically the power comes inside of you. When you do everything in your life, not merely out of fear. Yes, you started with fear. But now you understand that it is the right way, it is the right manner that one must live in this life. Then he becomes inspired. And he does those acts joyfully, not in a frustrated manner. So when you serve the elders, when you serve the teacher, or you show the prasad to the Lord, you are not doing out, again, not me, mummy, jate jate khud hi kha liya. Nahin. You do it out of joy, you do it out of understanding, you do it out of inspiration. That brings about a condition within you which is fearless. When we live in the world, we must live a self-disciplined life. We must be afraid of the world, because if you are not, it will just devour you. It will make you go the wrong way. In the world, don't be fearless. Must know when enough is enough. On the seat of meditation, be fearless. To go through all the traps, all the mazes of your mind. Dissect everything. Don't stop till you reach the goal. But we exactly do the opposite. On the seat of meditation, the mind is so much, my God, so many thoughts are coming. How do I deal with this? How do I do? मेरे को तो डर लगता है. अच्छा, आंखें खोल के बैठ जाते हैं. And in the outside world, we are fearless. In driving fast, going to pubs, going to discotheques, meeting a wrong type of people, gambling, watching wrong programs on the TV. We are fearless in that. अरे इससे कुछ नहीं होता. It's a sense of fearlessness. One must put barriers on the wrong stimuli coming in. That will only happen when you realize that you are doing disservice to yourself by taking in unwanted stimuli. See? Everything, there are so many things to see and hear, touch, feel, taste. Does not mean that everything is for you, man. It's not. And how will you come to know what is for you? Satvikat buddhi. The more pure your thinking is, the more pure your intelligence is, To that extent, you'll be very careful what goes in. You'll be very careful whom you meet and talk to, which environment you move around with, what type of food you eat. Are you eating happily or are you always cringing and crying and complaining and then eating? So even if you eat good food, fresh food, it will not nourish you. Why? Your mental attitude is wrong. And even if the food is old, because Mahatmas live on bhiksha, whatever people give they take, yet whatever they give without a complaint, joyfully they take it as a prasad. And nothing happens to them. See, these are attitudinal changes. And they are not difficult. You have to just allow yourself to think differently. Life is not just the way you have been seeing. Life is not just the way my parents have been seeing or your parents. They have got only one way of looking at it. Coming to satsang, doing a little bit of sadhana, control, practicing buddhi, jnana, sammoha, kshama, satya, dhamma, shamaha. By practicing even one of these, automatically your take on the world will change for the better. It will change for the better. But because my parents did it, so I will also do it like that. It's foolish. Your parents used to study under street light. Are you studying under street light? Your parents had 5, 6 brothers, sisters. Do you have 5, 6 brothers, sisters? Your parents used to wear half sari and full sari throughout their life. You are wearing jeans. This part they will forget. Only habits they will keep. Because my parents are like that, I will do like this. Foolish. You are an independent person. You have to make your own life. You have to unfold it. See? A king was there. He had 3 sons. One was Ravana, one was Kumbhakarna, one was Vibhishana. And the father was a great devotee. He was a rishi, sage. Was married to a Asura queen, a princess. All 3 educated sons. But see how each one of them became. Ravana did not want to, he studied with father but always listened to his mother. Kumbhakarna was neutral. The younger one, he didn't want to listen. He had respect for his mother, but he followed the right principles which his father taught. That's why Ram came in his life. And that's why negativity came in Ravana's life. Lust, anger, ego. Kumbhakarna, because he was in the middle, he didn't know how to deal with this nor with that. Kept sleeping. Ignorance is bliss. So just because you are a product of your parents, parents are good. If they have got good qualities, take them. But if they have got some negative qualities, do not take them. Be bold. Instead of focusing on the parents, focus on the Lord. He is the Savior. Parents are not the Savior. They will die one day. Then what will you do? Who will fill up that emptiness? They will live for 70. Well, who knows they will live for 70, 80 or not? They might die tomorrow. You might die tomorrow. Fill your heart and mind with the theme of the Lord, the vision of the Lord. See? And for that, when we are practicing buddhi, jnana, asammoha, kshama, satya, dhamma, kshama, and come to realize that sukha dukkha is just an expression of the mind, but I am other than the mind. That bhava is an expression of the mind, but I am other than the mind. That fear and fearlessness is a feeling of the mind, but I am other than the mind. Then you are ready. Then you are ready for the Lord to manifest in your heart. See? Ahimsa samata tushtihi tapodanam yasho yashaha bhavanti bhava bhutanam matta eva pruthak vidhaha. Here in the 5th verse he says, non-violence, even-mindedness, contentment, austerity, charity, fame and infamy, these different modes of beings spring from me alone. Jnaneshwar Maharaj says, we have read this already, na? Have we or have we not? Yeah, we have. So what is ahimsa? Ahimsa means not to hurt anyone, isn't it? And how do we hurt anyone?
By deed or word or act.
By thought, word or deed. Manasa, vacha, kaya. Yoga Shastra, Ashtanga Yoga, the first step is yama. Yama, niyama. Then asana, pranayama. So what is yama? Do not get disturbed by thought, word or deed of any person in this world. Nor disturb any person in this world by your thought, your word or your deed. This is the first step. First step. Then you are practicing ahimsa. Ahimsa means live and let live. Don't interfere in other people's work. Don't interfere in another person's life. Then what should I do, sir, for the 24 hours a day? Remember the Lord, man. What are you going to do by knowing when was he born, what did he do in the childhood, how did he fall in love, how did he get married, what was the experience of becoming a father the first time, blah, 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 blah. What are you going to gain? Are you doing market research? So you can prepare when you get married. No amount of market research is going to benefit you because you are a unique person with a unique swabhav. There are no two people in this creation with the same swabhav. No two people. So what information are you going to gather? It will only, more data will only, if I keep putting data into my computer, oh, this file, that file, this is what I am doing nowadays. I put so much, but I had not organized them in the files. So now Upanishad in this, then Kathopanishad in this, Bhagavad Gita in this. Now Gita lectures are there. 2 times I have taken and Jnaneshwari also is there. Now where will it go? Which Gita? Will it the first time, the second time or this Jnaneshwari? So I have to sort it all out. Otherwise, the first time I looked at my computer screen, it was a big gemishte salad, a mixed salad of files. Now, slowly order is coming to it. See? Then when I look, I know, I go there. Otherwise, before I have to find something, I look at the whole thing. And after some time I don't find it, I give up the search, isn't it? This is like our mind also like this. We don't know, with so much stimuli is coming in, what to do with it. Arey Baba, forget about getting involved. Where has that stimuli come? Because you are interested in the world. Nobody is saying don't live in the world. Live in the world. But don't get attached to the world, including your parents, including your children, including your grandchildren. Enjoy fully, 100%, without any expectation, without any attachment. Remain, think of the Lord. That's it. Be with the Lord while that is going on. How does Lord express through you? When you are 110% expressing at any given moment. How can you express 110% in any given moment? When your mind is neither in the past nor in the future, then alone you can express 110% in every moment. Isn't it? You are with the Lord. You don't have to think also that way. I'm giving you different ways of coming. Otherwise we create in our mind, अच्छा लॉर्ड करूँगा तो फिर मैं काम कैसे करूँगा, काम करूँगा तो लॉर्ड को कैसे. Not like that. Living an inspired life is living in God. But that inspired life must have all these qualities: buddhi, jnana, asamma, kshama, dama, shama, beyond sukha dukkha, beyond bhava abhav, beyond bhaya abhaya, practicing ahimsa, non-violence, remaining alert every moment. That are my words hurting someone? Is my thinking negative, or is my thinking wanting something bad for someone? Ahimsa. I go into the bathroom, I see a spider, maar do saare. Or do I go in, I catch the spider and I throw it out of the bath, over the wall. You do what you want. I'll deal with you later. Right now, I don't want you to die. You see the ants, take the wagon bag. Ravan ho gaya. Feeling so great after killing so many ants? Simple. Put cucumber all around the house. No ants will come in. But when this, no, but if rat comes, can I live with the rat in my bed? With the lizard in the bed? No, we are not saying that. But a feeling in your heart that if I am alive, I must allow others also to live their life. नहीं मैंने मुक्ति दे दी. अच्छा तुम कौन हो भाई? Who are you to give mukti to that? है ना, we say like things like this. Not right. One must respect life. That is ahimsa. So I'm giving you different examples. Not only out there, but I have to do puja and I have to take flowers. What do I do? Ahimsa. After I take the flower, it will die after some time. Then what do I do? Om Narayanaaya Namaha. Cluck. So you take the name of the Lord, pluck the flower and offer it to the Narayana alone. See? Till a point comes where you see the uselessness even in that. Till then, do it. These are some. So ahimsa, samata. Samata means equanimity. Equanimity of the mind, which does not get disturbed by anything that is presented to the mind. It remains the witness. We look at, okay, today we started only the second verse, okay? But important points. These are the qualities. The Lord is saying all these qualities are my vibhutis. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते. ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. हरिः ॐ श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः. हरिः ॐ. Just sit quietly for 2 minutes.